Well, honestly, I fell in love with the sport of boxing. I feel like it's in my blood because when I was younger, I am a fourth generation fighter, so it's a runs in the family. All my life I've been boxing. When I was 4 years old, I put on the gloves, I started hitting the bags. First fight went when I was 8 years old. So it just pretty much my whole life I've been into it. I've always been into it, always loved it. I did many other sports, but I stuck with boxing.
Tell them how you borrowed everybody's mouthpiece.
And yes, when I was little, my mom would get mad at me because when I was like 4, 5, 6, I would get the mouthpieces from the sparring right there on the ring, and I'd put them in my mouth, and my mom would freak out.
3 and 4.
So my family relation, it was more of a kickboxing. So my great-great-grandma was a wrestler, and then I have my kickboxing family, which is my Benny the Jet Yukitas. The Yukitas family, they are kickboxers, and they did boxing as well. And then my aunts and my mom and the sisters, they all did boxing as well.
And my grandfather was also a boxer.
I was the one that said, hey, you know what, I want to take it farther. I'm kind of the only one boxing right now, and I feel that it kind of stuck with me. And I wanted to make my family proud and show them what I'm about. So then I just stick with boxing.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like a family legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It is a legacy.
You're continuing the legacy of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Throughout the generations, we grew up in the gym. I became a trainer. My oldest daughter, she was a boxer as well. So I opened up a gym for her. One of my uncles, he's a legendary kickboxer. He opened up a gym because he wanted me to continue the legacy, which you had mentioned earlier. And I had just 2 girls. Everyone else in my family has boys. So my daughter was boxing, and this one had no other choice, just like I did it. You know, she grew up in the gym, and she would collect mouthpieces, throw a headgear on, it would be backwards, big gloves, and she would just hit the bag and try to spar anybody she could. She was like 3 years old, tiny little thing. So, I mean, she had the same lifestyle as I, but only I took, now there's women in boxing, females in boxing. I was in the amateurs, so I had a lot of other fighters. I was able to take her to travel, and she loved being at the tournament, so it just stuck with her. I really don't think she had a day where like, oh my gosh, I want to be a boxer, I love boxing. It's just something she grew in love with as growing up. It was a normal life for her.
You know what, it feels great because I'm able to say it loud and proud. My mom is my trainer. A lot of people are surprised too. They'll be like, who's your trainer? And I'm, my mom's my trainer. They're like, really? I'm like, yep, she's taken me this far. And I feel it's like a dynamic duo, you know. A lot of people, they have a lot of, you see mostly like fathers and sons, but you never really see daughters and mothers. So that's something I take very like prideful because it's very rare. And yes,
I don't think there's a mom and daughter team.
I don't think so.
Well, there is.
Yeah.
They're just not at, how would I say without sounding like conceited, but at the level where we've reached, there's, I've never seen, and we've been all around the world, we've been at the top level, and I don't see it. There's mothers too that work the corners, or, you know, they give water or whatever, but me actually taking my daughter all over the world, it's a different, we're at a different level. So, but I do admire all the women that get in the ring and be able to watch their daughters or their kids get punched in the face. It's a little hard to do.
Yeah, actually the other day I just sparred with a boy. Sometimes when I was younger, all I used to spar was boys because there wasn't really that many. There was girls, but they weren't just where I was at. And when I got older, I was able to spar older women, you know, because they were already fighting, and so the experience was similar.
Wait, I think she was about 15 when she sparred her first girl, right?
Yeah, I was pretty older.
Really?
Yeah, when I sparred my first girl. And then I just started sparring girls. I was traveling a lot, so I was sparring internationally as well. But recently I actually just sparred a boy the other day because my sparring had canceled. So yeah, whenever I could spar a boy, I'll spar a boy. Yes, there was times where the car would break down or we just didn't have transportation because we only had one car.
We lived in East LA.
Yes, we did live in East LA, and I would go to school all the way in San Fernando in the Valley because I didn't want to go to school in East LA. So in the beginning, elementary stuff, it was okay because my boxing I wasn't going to nationals because I was too young, or I was, but it was here and there. And when I got older, around like my teen years, I actually, to get to school started at 7 o'clock. I would wake up at 4 in the morning, get ready by 4:30, walk out the door. My mom would drive me to the bus stop, like down the street. And from there, I would take the bus all the way to San Fernando, and I'd get in San Fernando around 6:30, 6:45. and then I would go to school, and then after school it'd be 3 o'clock. I'd walk to a bus, take the bus, get off the bus, and take the train all the way to downtown. But that was before we found out about the train. Then I started taking the train.
I would meet her at the Union Station. We'd jump on the train together. Oh. So we communicated cell phone. Every 5 minutes we're on the phone.
It was difficult, you know. I would be tired the times, and what part about it too is when I found out about the train, I would run at 5 in the morning, and then I would take the bus all the way to school. So I'd be already hot and sweating, and I would still go to school. It was a lot of sacrifices. And then when I got to high school, about second semester, 11th grade, in the beginning of 12th, I went homeschool because I was traveling to Budapest, Hungary, and I was going to be gone for like 3 months. So I had to go homeschool because there was no way I could be able to pass
fought me for a whole year.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult, but I got it done. I graduated, and that was an important thing for me too, just to have my GED, right?
No, your high school diploma.
I meant my diploma.
That wasn't due. I said, if I homeschool you, you got to promise me you're going back to school. I'm taking you to graduate. Walk that stage. I want that memory. And we make promises with each other. And we keep them. So
luckily, the school was lenient. They let me come back the last semester. They really loved that I boxed, so that actually helped too. I was able to walk the stage, finish my last semester in high school, and graduate kind of like a normal kid. Yeah, it is hard. Sometimes my problem would probably be like the eating part because I like to eat a lot. But my mom, you know, she cooks for me as well, and that helps a lot. I've sacrificed a lot of times going out to eat, going out with friends. The training is very hard. You know, I've always trained hard since I was a little kid. I've always pushed myself to the extra limits. And there's sometimes like, wow, I just want to give up, but I keep going. The training is hard, the discipline and the fighting, traveling, it's a lot. It's a lot. Boxing is a lot, but you know, you have to stay disciplined.
Yeah.
What keeps you going, Roxy? Because you're only 19 and I'm already tired just listening to the whole school and training thing.
What kept me going is knowing that what I'm capable of, knowing where I can push myself to. You know, there's still a lot of things I haven't done, and that's what's pushing me. I know I can do more and more. I'm just being greedy within myself, knowing that I can do more, and that's what motivates me. Like, let's see how far I can take this or this or this. So I have 107 fights. I have about 101 wins and about 5 or 6 losses. I'm trying to remember, but sometimes I say a different number every time, but it's around there. I have 21 national championships in the U.S. I have 3 international gold medals, one of them being a world championship, a youth world championship. I've also won the WBC Green Belt amateur belt. And I've accomplished pretty much a lot. You know, I still have a lot to cover as well.
And where is it? Where's your belt?
Right there.
USA Boxing released the article. See, she gets like, don't tell anybody, but USA
No, I
Boxing
don't
released
remember. I didn't.
She's number 2 or 3 on the best record since 2013.
Yeah, Mark Castor was on there, Shakur Stevenson, and then I was like right under them.
Yeah.
No, you were on top, under
No.
Mark Castro, on top. You were the second or third person.
Somewhere right there on the top
Yeah.
4.
And she was pound for pound in the elite, and she had just turned elite within, I think it was only 2 months.
Yeah.
She's number 2.
Yeah.
And she had the most national title wins. You know, the one that got number 1, I believe had like 16 fights. Only because she had 1 loss, so she didn't become number 1.
So for what I've been working to make the Olympics for Team USA, and towards the end, I went to like World Championships. I already had done all of that, and then when I turned 18, I was able to. I would have been youth, and I could have fought youth, but I said I could go elite and try to go for the Olympics. So that's what I did, and then I went to Olympic qualifiers. I made it through there, and then I went to Olympic trials, and there was a 2-week tournament. And I fought about 6 times, and I could have fought even more. But I made it to the top 4, and I lost. You're able to lose 2 times. One of them was just controversial. So I will get into that, but I didn't come out with the victory. And I thought about it like, wow, what am I going to do? That was a really big dream of mine. That's all of the tournaments I did was for that one. Out of all the tournaments, my most important one, I had been defeated, and it really hurt, it hurt me, but I pushed through it and I said, you know what, try another option. I got my dual citizenship and I went for Mexico. And when I got to Mexico, I was still waiting on the tournament. They were still behind because of COVID. And they finally gave us a tournament. I went to Mexico City. 2 days before that, they canceled the tournament to make the Mexico team. And we were just confused. It was just within the Mexico committee. And then a week later, they canceled all Argentina for the qualifiers for every country. For the whole world, they canceled it. So the Olympics kind of now, this Olympic is more on points you had 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But I was still a youth, so I didn't collect points as an elite fighter. And it was just heartbreaking for a lot of people. Not even all the spots on Team USA were filled, or even Mexico, other countries. It's just people from way back then. They're even bringing pros back too, even the ones in the U.S. So I wanted to go for Mexico, and it didn't happen. And I was just really, really hurt because 2 times, we worked hard for the second chance. Like, wow, I have a second chance in this. But, COVID kind of really messed up things. But I still plan on fighting in Mexico. I still want to go to Pan Am's, Continentals. I want to go to World Championships, but to represent Mexico. And then hopefully 2024 represent them in the Olympics.
In Paris.
In Paris, yes. I've struggled a lot with mental health. A lot of fighters do not really bring that up. Recently Ryan Garcia, he's always talked about it, and people were kind of being a little mean, cruel to him, but I would speak on it too. A lot of fighters go through it. I go through depression, anxiety. Sometimes my mind's not all there. My body's okay. I feel 100% in my body, but my mind, when it's not there, you really lose yourself. And, it was hard, especially after that loss in 2019 at the trials. Like, I was devastated. My heart still hurts right now, and because I hadn't lost in a long time. And,
Sorry.
And, it took a toll on me. I was really heartbreaking. It was like one of my dreams. And to deal with it, it's hard, especially boxing. You're losing weight. You're focused on, you have all kinds of pressure on you from all these different people. It could be your parents. It could be people from the outside. It could be boxing trolls, and they put you down. And a lot of fighters don't talk about that. It does affect you. Like, people can say it doesn't affect them and stuff, but deep down inside, a lot of fighters feel some type of way when someone says something, because we're all still human. Boxers are humans too. We have feelings. I feel that they put I don't know how to say. They put like they make boxers seem like we have to be tough all the time. We have to be strong. We can't cry. And just like also too, Tyson Fury, he came out about that too. He was going through anxiety and stuff. And I'm kind of glad that a lot of people now are speaking about boxing and mental health. And I just hope that it gets talked about more and we get help, the help we need. The advice I would give with mental health would definitely be, don't let your thoughts eat you, because your thoughts can eat you alive and you hurt your own self just thinking about it. Don't think too much. Try not to. There's times where you want to do all kinds of things because you don't want to rest and start overthinking. But sometimes you just really just need to rest. You need to rest your body. You need to rest your mind. If you don't feel 100% to go to a tournament, don't go. You just, like my mom says, don't get over it, get around it. And, a lot of meditation helps too, getting away from social media, getting away from the crowd. But everyone's different. Everyone has their own ways of coping with it. Some of them still have yet to figure that out. And for me, it would just be advice to figure out what makes you happy. And if boxing doesn't make you happy, then find something that makes you happy. You don't feel forced and obligated to do something that you don't want to do. Well, I lived in Mexico for about 9 months, almost a year. I was out in Mexico. I was training, Colima. I was in Colima. COVID was bad, but not that bad because it's just so small and everyone was taking care of themselves. So the whole time I was pretty much training. I was kind of a little upset that all the tournaments were canceled. Boxing was basically disappeared. Boxing disappeared. But I was able to help myself mentally. I took the little break from boxing, so that was good. I helped myself mentally, And I took a break because every boxer needs a break. You know, we need a rest sometimes, whether it be a week or whether it be a couple months. You know, it's just how you feel. But what I did was work on my social media. I did other things, you know, to help my boxing. So when I'm back, I'll be able to, you know, be even higher. But I was training still once in a while. Well, for me, the eating part, it's a little hard for me. You know, I still have yet to, honestly, I don't even know my body completely. I still have yet to figure out what's good for me, what's not good for me. That's something that me and my mom talk about sometimes, that I want to go and figure that out. But as a regular human being, you know, a lot of people actually miss out on a lot of sleep. But because I feel like the way the world is, you know, the social media, the traffic, the people around you, you know, there's times where you get so lost in the world that you don't get time to recuperate and, you know, meditate or relax. And I feel a lot of people lose sleep because of the way the world works, I guess you can say, you know, or people that live in big cities. It's really difficult because you're always doing something, you're always on a move, on a go. And that's something, you know, I feel the world needs to do, is just sit back and take a chill pill for a little bit. Well, it felt good. My mom felt it more for me, I think, because she's watched him when she was younger, so she feels like some type of way. I'm so glad I got to do that and got to see him in person, and him holding the mitts. At first, he didn't know how to hold the mitts for me because he's like, I think he underestimated what I can do, and he's like, "Oy, pegas duro." It was really funny because
the hands were coming fast. He's like, "Oh."
Yeah. He's like, "Ay," like he's like, "Ay, caray." And it was pretty fun, you know. It was an honor to be in the same ring with him. That was something that I really enjoyed. So I'm debuting as a 19-year-old female promoter. It's called Right Hook Promotions. I will be having a show in Colima, Mexico, June 26th, co-promoting with Marv Nation. The WBC is involved. You know, I really thank them a lot because they help push everything. And, you know, Andy, Supreme Boxing, Sparring, Blue Moon Boxing, all these people, you know, they really helped me a lot with the show. And I'm really excited because I'm only 19 years old and I have my own promotion, you know, and also, too, I'm a female. So that makes it even 10 times better. I'm really excited to showcase it to you guys.
What made you make this decision?
What made me make the decision was I wasn't fighting because of COVID and the tournaments got canceled. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just make my own show. And from there, I was like, I'm going to just make my own show. I can do it.
The opportunity was presented to us. So I asked her, what do you think about not having doors shut on us? And she said, you know what? Just do it. I'm ready for it, Mom. I said, you're going to have a big responsibility, Roxy. She goes, it's boxing. So I said, okay. We formed a team. She has a lot of great connections in Mexico with family, and we just took that and ran with it, and we formed a team with the Supreme Boxing, Marv Nation, Sparring, Andy Fitzsmith. So we have a very strong team that loves Roxy, and they've been with her throughout the years. So she sat down with every single one of them, and they decided to join her team.
But, you know, I like to stay down on eating junk food because it slows my feet down. I don't know how other fighters are, but eating too much
Tell the experience why you say that.
Well, when I was 12, you know, I had to gain weight, you know, and so I fought. I was really underweight. No, I weighed in, I fought. No, wait, what? Sorry. I weighed in, and after I was really hungry, I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat some pancakes. I ate a stack of pancakes at IHOP. I was the slowest person ever for that fight. I was so sluggish, like it was really bad, and I learned my lesson from that.
After that, it's my uncle. He has a lot of experience in eating and all that. And he always tells me, you know, fighters, the worst mistake they make is eating everything they didn't eat throughout their camp. You see them, they're bloated. You see them at the weigh-ins, they're just ripped. And then you see them, and you have that long hang, or their stomachs hanging out, or they're swollen. Yeah. So what I do now is, for years already, I get an Airbnb, and I cook for them, and I feed them exactly the way they're eating in camp, but a little more, and a little more pasta, a little more. But and it helps them because they go in the ring the next day feeling sharp and fast.
In shape. You know, you see a lot of boxers that they'll go in the ring the next day and you don't even recognize them. You're like, wow.
Is that the same?
Man, they're not fans. I call them friends. You know, they support me, and I appreciate, you know, like all the support they give me, and it motivates me because sometimes I'm like, dang, I just want to stop, but I'm like, wait, I can't let friends down. You know, I gotta keep pushing.
Keep going.
Forget mom, my friends, right?
My friends.
All my thousands of friends.
So when was the last time you fought?
2019.
We fought this morning, her and I.
No.
Right.
2019, June 26th, which is going to be almost 2 years later, right?
Yep.
2 years? No, I fought
Almost,
the
yeah.
end of 2019 in
Okay, a
December.
year and a
December
half.
2000.
Yeah.
You get back in the ring. How excited are you?
Man, I'm anxious, honestly. I'm not nervous. I'm just like, I wonder how I'm going to fight. It's been so long, but I'm really excited to fight, honestly.
And a tough girl, right?
Yeah, very tough. She's a multi-national champion, and she has a lot of fights. And they challenged us like, we want to fight her, and I was like, okay, let's go. You know, so I told Roxy, we got to fight for you, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna be able to entertain, you know, people part of Mexico where they get to see Roxy, and her whole family lives there, so
Yeah.
she gets to fight in front of her grandmother, her grandfather, her
Wow.
brothers.
And
for
my
the
first time.
You see,
Yes, my
amateur
second WBC amateur bout. The other day I made the mistake of saying I was the first. Actually, Heaven Garcia is the first. I'll be the second, if I'm correct. Yes, I'll be the second. I'm really excited because the last time I fought for that one was in 2018.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to fight and put on a show for people.